Just in time. What up? Oh my goodness.
In the house.
Just in time fucking inventory right
It's early.
here. Let's freaking go. How you doing?
Fashionably late.
Check out this shirt.
By
Let's
the
fucking, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
love
To the
it, love
moon,
it, love
boo.
it.
Oh, that's sick. How you
Thank
how you doing, Adrian? By the way,
Doing
we're
good,
live.
doing good.
So hello, welcome everybody. This is another episode of Market Buzz. We have Mimi, Adrian, and myself today going live for you. We're just going to talk about what we saw this week in markets, which kind of caught us off guard. At least the Nvidia downturn was a scary one for sure. I think we were all expecting sort of a relief rally after the Nvidia earnings, but the market decided otherwise. And big money decided to sell it off drastically. Some of the things we're going to be talking about today in today's episode is going to be the wall of worry. What are the things that are freaking out the markets? Market sentiment. How is the Etoro feed doing? Because this is a very interesting indicator that we just take into consideration. And the bear and bull case. What are the negatives and the positives in this case? Sort of like short term, medium term, and long term, right? And just to get an idea. But welcome to another episode of Market Buzz. Put your questions in the chat. We're more than happy to have a conversation with you. All right. So let's get started, right? So it's like wall of worry, right? So it's like the market always climbs a wall of worry, and we're trying to figure out exactly what is the sort of like what are the fears that are out there, right? And we've just seen sort of like fears pile on top of each other. But the interesting thing that these are not new, right? So it's like it's nothing new that has come in. It's not been like a super black swan event. It's just been now we believe them more. If I say it right. So I don't know. Like for example, like one of the things that we're seeing so far is the liquidity crisis in private credit is starting to show up. Started with Jamie Dimon. That was something very interesting because it was like the cockroaches might start coming out, and we started seeing some things, but the level of sort of like liquidations is still small. So I don't think it's something that is majorly affecting the markets, right? Again, VC money, private money is going to start potentially getting in a place where maybe they're starting to get liquidations or they need to find capital quickly. And there seems to be a lack of money in the system. That could be for government shutdown. We don't really know. Only time will tell, right? So those are some of the things that we're kind of paying attention to. Another thing is the AI bubble. Everybody's freaking out about the amount of money that's being spent in AI, right? Big question here is the way that they're depicting the story the right way? And I want to talk about that later, but it's like, because I think the market is getting something wrong, which I just kind of figured out in the last couple of days. But yeah, like the AI story right now, I think is being framed into like, it's almost like they're startups, but we're not talking about startup companies. We're talking about built out infrastructure that is increasing their investment in some part of the economy. So it's like, again, something we're going to talk about later in the bear bull case scenario. The Japan carry trade was something that popped up really quickly. Japan has started stimulating money, and the markets are paying attention to that very strongly. The Japanese yen went higher. I did mention it in the live stream very briefly in the rumor side, and then I managed to dig a little bit deeper. So that's something we're going to be talking about as well. The October 10 capitulation, that's something I'm going to let Mimi kind of touch on and then Adrian touch on a little bit more. That's the crypto markets as well, just because it was kind of like an unprecedented event. Worried everybody be freaking out, right? Massive liquidations, and it showed a weakness in the crypto markets that was not maybe taken into consideration before, and now hopefully it takes a little bit of time for that money to kind of like siphon through the economy and those problems. And the selling wave crisis, which has to do with the government shutdown and all the different things, is just people selling, right? It's like the one thing I know for a fact, and the reason the market went down is because there's more sellers than buyers. And I said this in the eToro chat, right? Because it's like, that's the one thing I can guarantee, right? It's like everything else is arbitrary. Like maybe it's this, maybe it's that, right? We don't have the data. We don't have the numbers. It's very like, we're still looking from the outside in. So it's very difficult to say, but we do know that there's more sellers than buyers. And the question is why, right? So in this episode of Market Buzz, we're going to touch on those points, market sentiment, and all those things. So stay until the end. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll be more than happy to answer them. And hopefully we'll share what we have to say with the what we're doing with our portfolios and what we are planning to do. And hopefully you agree. And if you disagree, let us know in the comments why. We're more than happy to listen to the other side. Okay. So first things first, right? do you guys agree with what I just said, or do you guys think there's anything else that I missed? Because I know,
No, no,
like, also, oops, sorry, me.
no, go,
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 go.
go.
Because I know, like, the one thing I didn't touch on, which I'm gonna let Adrian touch a little bit more on, is gonna be the fundamentals. No, not the fundamentals, the technicals. Yeah, the technical analysis, right? Because it's like we're seeing sort of like how, like, I want to sort of understand a little bit more what are the technicals are saying, both in crypto and in the stock market as well. So let's get the show on the road. Mimi, go.
All right. Okay. There's so much to say. I mean, like, I know we spoke about a lot of it last stream, but trying to compact everything. I spent a whole entire day. It's so funny. It's a Saturday, and I said, look, I'm going to take time off this weekend. And then last night I said to you, let's do a stream. Let's do a stream because everybody wants to know and address the situation. Why did everything sell off after Nvidia earnings? After Nvidia earnings, everyone was like, hooray. Everything has had a bit of a mini rally. AI bubble, rumors muted at that time. But we still saw a sell-off at the end of the session and then a huge sell-off in Bitcoin. And so the question is why? And what we don't know is that there was no catalyst. There really was no catalyst at the time, specific catalyst as to why everything sold off. So we need to just look at the bigger picture and everything combined from the TA lens, which I'll let Adrian talk about it a little bit more, the macro lens, and then the psychology. So really briefly, my understanding of the TA lens is it's bearish, right? It's bearish. Traders are looking at the charts and saying, yes, we are now in a bear market for Bitcoin, for crypto. I agree with that theory there. Obviously, we're waiting for another weekly close under the 50-week SMA, and then reconsider. If that plays out, if the bear case plays out based on technicals alone, there should still be a retrace. There still should be a relief bounce to, let's say, 108,000 to 110,000. So there are, in terms of technicals, there are a lot of indicators showing that we're in a bear market. There is other data as well pointing to the fact that potentially we could not be. And that is something that to also consider. On-chain data is also showing that big players are accumulating, they're buying, and also that we potentially are either at the bottom or very, very close to, should the bull cycle resume. From a macro lens, right? Obviously, Bitcoin is always the first to take a hit when it comes to a lot of uncertainty. And then people are saying, Bitcoin essentially is the canary in the coal mines. The state of the economy is uncertain. The lack of data, obviously, government shutdown. QT, quantitative tightening, the end of it, even though people do see it as a positive, it can also be seen as a negative because it could signal that the Fed are scrambling somehow. Like, are they panicking? Is there panic there? And that makes everybody feel uneasy. So there could be a sell-off because of that. AI bubble, we can talk about that a little bit more. And then, the Japan carry trade is something that I brought up a few weeks ago with you, Nesta. I was like, are you worried about this?
Yeah.
We look into this. And then, I'm not like an expert in this field, but my understanding is obviously with the Japan carry trade, it's that people borrow money, borrow the yen, they then take it off short, go to the US, buy stocks, bonds, all of that. And it's very profitable. But now, because interest rates are going up in Japan, it's no longer profitable. So therefore, that liquidity is being taken back into Japan.
Yeah. Well, it's less profitable. Less
profitable.
Yeah. But there are some other things that started happening in Japan, with their stimulating. Inflation is starting to creep up. Productivity is not creeping up. So there you have all these different sort of things playing out. So
yeah. So that's just like, there's so many factors. And then you look at the forced sell-off, right? So the capitulation, liquidation, huge liquidation event in crypto on the 10th of October, it's still in a recovery phase, right? It happened, but there's also talks of forced selling from certain big players or market makers just to make up that liquidity that's been lost. And then there's also talk of like it was a glitch in the system as well, like it just that caused a cascade of liquidations. that's still recovering. It hasn't stopped. So that needs to be taken into consideration. Psychology wise, something I wanted to really bring up is that there's been a lot of talk about like the usage of Bitcoin, which is worrying Bitcoiners, which could potentially, this is just a theory, could be causing the OG Bitcoiners to or sell, but also like why not? If there's uncertainty and you've been holding Bitcoin for like 10 years, why not sell now? That makes sense. Profit, huge profit. But the theory is that Bitcoin has always been seen as money, as a store of value, but that has been changing. And I'm sure Adrian can talk about this more as well. Like it's going from money and a store of value to data storage on the blockchain. So they're upgrading it, or in the process of upgrading it, so
They're in
that
the middle
Bitcoin.
of a vote, no? I think
Oh, what?
I think it's a vote. I have no idea how it works. I have no idea how it
Yeah,
works because I'm not in
yeah,
it. But
yeah. I'm not super techie in that sense, but instead of just being like money, which is whatever, like a store of value that everybody thought this is the way, this is revolutionary. It's now become you can store data on the blockchain, and it's just throwing off all of the people that were believing in. And this is just a theory as well. I just don't want to cause panic or anything. That could also be in play and causing, in terms of sentiment psychology, for people to sell off and be like, "No, I'm getting out." Potentially. Yeah, that's really all I have in terms of like a summary of why things are selling off. It's just not one thing.
no, like there's many different things. Even Tom Lee was like, "Oh, because of the Epstein files." Now people are saying, "Oh, the markets are dropping because of potentially the Epstein files are going to have an effect on how Trump is going to be perceived." It's bro, I've heard all. Man, I'm about to get my tinfoil hat. Like I've heard everything. It's crazy this rally, but I want to get Adrian's views on this. So
Yeah,
so what are your thoughts?
I'll preface it with I'm a person that believes usually the price is the price for the most part, especially short term. And really, people are gonna always find a narrative that fits that price movement, right? Before it was the government shutdown. Now that the government's open, what is it, right? If the government was still shut down, I think people would still say, "Oh, it's because the government shut down. We had this decline."
Yeah.
That's all. But anyway, both play into it. It's not just price and technical analysis. It's not just fundamentals. You need to use all your tools to make decisions across different time frames, right? For fundamentals, Bitcoin is fundamentally intact. It's going to survive long term. There have been so many times where there's people, oh, now it's different. Bitcoin is going to die. And every time we get these steep declines really fast, the same conversations come. How many times has Bitcoin been banned in China and then unbanned,
Yeah.
right? How many times are even going back to the whole block size debate, right? That created Bitcoin Cash. If we got past that at that point and Bitcoin survived, it's going to survive anything else, really. It's the biggest decentralized network in the whole world by far. Nobody controls Bitcoin. Nobody can ban it. It just can't go away. As much as people believe it is a storage of value, it's still going to be around. It's a volatile asset. Yes. Obviously, it's going to be a volatile asset. But even then, we're seeing that change over time. We're seeing smaller peaks and we're seeing smaller troughs, right? Now, moving on to kind of like what I see in the market as a whole. I was with you, Nestor. I was telling you that I thought the NVIDIA earnings were going to be the inflection point, right? And I was right, but the wrong way.
Yeah.
Because once we got those earnings, I went in heavy on futures, and then the next morning stopped. And then okay, this kind of bounce, this short term stop, and I was like, I need to stop trading. I need to stop trying to catch the falling knife. I'm just gonna let it go. Wait until there's a solid bottom indicator, and then get back into the market. I personally think. I think a lot of this is attributable to fears of that there's not going to be a rate cut in December, along with there is going to be a rate cut. Therefore, the economy is weakening. The jobs report was a little weak, right? Like you said, Mimi, every time they do a rate cut, why are you doing a rate cut? Because the economy needs it, right? Especially with Powell. Powell is not just going to cut, as we've seen over the past few years. Right. So I do think we are going to get a cut. And all of this fear is unfounded at this point. I think if we let me share here my screen so we can look at some of the technicals on both the Bitcoin
You should
side.
be able to. Let me know if you can't, but you should be able to.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. So first, let's look at the S&P. So you'll notice that we tend to bounce around this line here, which is a 21-week MA. We tagged it already, and now seems like we're bouncing. I think that is the spot where we're gonna get that bounce. There may be some weakness for the next couple weeks until we get into that rate cut decision, but I think this is the bottom. Now I need to wait to confirm it before I go in. But if you'll notice, we've been bouncing here, 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 and just riding it up. So this goes back to the theory of cycle theory of how markets behave based on emotions, based on psychology, and really people themselves have essentially a natural timer in their psychology, and therefore that is reflected in markets. So we see that. Now, there's times where we do get a break, right? This was back in March, April, right?
Yeah.
We got that break.
The Trump gift.
Yeah.
So as long as we don't get this, I think we're going to be fine. I think this is a low likelihood scenario. But that's where I see it for the market, equities market. This is S&P as a proxy.
Yeah.
But let's move to, I'll pause there, see if you guys have any comments on that.
Well, the thing is this, so for example, like, and the S&P 500 is interesting because it's like, if you look at the RSP, it's actually being quite solid in relation in the last couple of, like, the RSP is the equal weight S&P.
Mhm.
So it's being sort of like, we've seen the weakness in the big players. The problem with the big players is that we're seeing so much consolidation on the stock and the Max 7. I think they account for about around 40% of the index, that they just move the markets, right? Like, and because we're seeing everybody, even if you're investing in the S&P 500, you're invested in the AI trade, whether you like it or not, right? So we are seeing sort of that weakness there, right? NVIDIA, funny enough about NVIDIA. So now that you have the chart up, I'm just gonna like throw this comment out now. And this was a mistake that I had in my analysis. And then after like doing a little bit of research, I understood why the market dropped right after the NVIDIA story. The problem with NVIDIA is that NVIDIA is the start of the catalyst, right? We saw NVIDIA sort of go into the boom, and they're selling chips, and they're going to continue to sell chips, right? But the problem is not with NVIDIA. The problem is with the hyperscalers and all of the new companies that are buying chips from them. And the way that NVIDIA is sort of financing some of these deals, it starts getting a little bit shady, right? So it's like, okay, like why, like if it's so much demand, right, and you can guarantee that demand, why are the private money and the people that are letting you borrow that money asking for guarantees, right? Why do you have to be the first customer to kind of play in? So it becomes like this sort of like, it's tricky because it's like, okay, we know that NVIDIA is strong, so the demand for chips is really high, but it doesn't give us the answer that the market was looking for, which is, how are we seeing the increase in revenues from this, right? So that's where the NVIDIA trade kind of played out. It's like, okay, like we saw some sort of like strength because it was like, oh, the earnings were fantastic and we're hoping to continue this. Like, it's incredible that a company that's almost $5 trillion at the peak, it's almost at 4.3, 4.4, is increasing revenues by almost 60%. And not only that, the revenue is increasing and the rate of revenue is increasing. The rate of revenue growth. So that's also something, like, I love the company still. It's just like, obviously, like, I'm now starting to pay attention to how the deals get made and how everything is happening. It's not just, oh, I made a deal with OpenAI. No, it's, hey, show me the revenue, right? How many people are you getting? How is this changing the ecosystem and everything around it, right? So I don't think we're in a bubble, because I think that revenues are there. Like, these are not again, I go back to the same story always, which is like, we're not in the .com bubble where, like, you look at the websites that people used to make and the capabilities that you're able just to use with ChatGPT today, it's so different, right? And it's like, and these are not companies that don't have any money. It's like, if they need to cut back spending, they will. And they still have massive businesses that still need this compute. You know what? Something that I made the click yesterday, like today, this morning, it was like, it's funny because it's like, for example, what was the company that had some issues with the internet and Twitter wasn't working? No, it was
AWS.
No, AWS first, and then there was another one that had it this week. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, no, I can't remember, but there was
Cloudflare. Yes, Cloudflare. That tells you that there's just like, we need data centers. We need more data centers. We need redundancies, right? Like, these are just attacks right now, or potentially problems that they're having with just updates, but we can't be in a world where this happens in a normal business. What happens if you cancel NVIDIA? You know what I mean? Like, what happens if this happens to a financial company? So all of these things, it's like the infrastructure build that we're seeing. The CEO of Microsoft said it. In my projections, if OpenAI fails, I could incur less because I need the compute for what I'm running already. Like, it's like the compute infrastructure build out right now that we're seeing is based on what they want to build, not what OpenAI is or what Gemini is or what. No, it's like, it's what they want to build. And all of the CEOs are doing the same thing. Look at Gemini 3. It's like we're starting to see the breakthrough of the AI infrastructure now having an effect not only on LLMs, but on the rest of the ecosystem. And it's like, now it's like image generation, video generation, and all that has been built out and it's getting improved. Like, it's not perfect, but it's the worst it's ever going to be. That's for sure. So that's where I'm at least with like, even with tech and S&P. But I gotta let you go into the technicals.
Yeah, no, and just a comment on that. I think Jensen said, if we miss earnings, the whole world would have collapsed, which I thought was funny. But also, I remember like 10 years ago or so when it was so rare to have some sort of like server, like worldwide server go down. Now it's becoming more common, like once a month, maybe once every couple months, which is crazy. And I agree with you, Nestor. That infrastructure, it's still kind of young. It still needs to be built out, and that's why we're seeing this hiccups. I consult for companies in the electric and gas space, right? That's what they care about: high reliability. They don't care about the profits and all that as much. They need to provide power and gas to people. So they have all the infrastructure built out. They're also very slow to adapt new technology, right? What we're seeing is new technology going in, and sometimes when you move that fast, there's going to be issues that you have to run into as you mature.
There's teething problems. Teething
exactly.
Always. Yeah.
The other thing I want to mention, the market's not going to just go up all the time. There's got to be, like I said before, cycles. People get hyped up, they ride that wave, and then at the point they start getting scared. So it's a natural progression of the market. If you look at where NVIDIA is, for example, again, we see this huge run up this year, a little bit of a breather. Then we go up. Now we're taking a breather, right? It's this normal part of the market. But obviously, people who are not tracking the market in this way, there's going to be some fear in there. But as long as you believe long term and you don't care about the kind of those smaller waves, that's fine. If you're a trader, you do care about this, right? And you can take advantage of this. But it's just about different perspectives in terms of time horizon.
Yeah.
Let's move into Bitcoin and crypto in general. This one's going to be fun. So what we're seeing here, let's go where we're at right now. So we are at the 100-week MA, moving average, right? We have lost to 50 last week, and then it looks almost certain that by tomorrow we're going to close. We're going to get that second close below the 50-week. A lot of people, this was their metric. I recognize that. I think last stream and in my groups, I was also saying, look, I'm getting ahead of that. We got the first close. To me, that's enough to start de-risking, right? I had already de-risked all of my altcoins. I started selling some of my Bitcoin. So now I'm mostly sitting on cash. I'm even out of equities too, my short-term bucket, right? So I'm just waiting to see what happens so I can go in heavy once we get that reversal confirmation. My long-term holds, I still have my long-term home. I still believe in AI technology, crypto. Well, not crypto, Bitcoin. There's no alts in my long-term hold because I always bleed against Bitcoin. But what I think will happen, and looking at the previous cycle, is that we get a bounce of around these levels, right? And it looks like we have a wick already. And this would also coincide with the equity market getting that bounce up to 21-week MA, right? So there's some confluence there. If you look at the previous cycle, we see a similar structure, right? We see first high, a decline, second high. Same here, right? First high, decline, second high. And then after that high, we see that we go down to the 100 week MA, and then we get that relief rally. In this case, we went down to what, 32,000. Then we get that relief rally just above that 21-week MA, around back to 48,000, close to that 50,000 level. Here, right, what we're seeing, and I just took this bar pattern and overlaid it to see what potentially could happen. Again, this is all speculation, so take this with a
like
grain of
again.
salt.
This is something that the eToro community seems to believe, that we are all sort of like crystal ball God people that watch. No, these are predictions, right? So it's like, this is what we see in the markets based on previous history, based on analysis, based on everything that we're sort of evaluating into a model and then putting it and placing it. Can it follow this? Maybe. Can it not follow this? Maybe. We have no idea what tomorrow will bring. Maybe Trump decides to buy all of the Bitcoin supply tomorrow and it goes to the moon. We just have no idea. Welcome to the risk markets. These are risk markets. You put in risk, and if you are right, you get paid. And if you're wrong, you don't get paid.
You get
Simple.
rewarded for it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's like,
so yeah,
we've gone so much way too high, and people are just like, oh no, market just has to go up. If it doesn't go up, everybody's wrong. It's like, bro, what is going on?
Exactly.
It's like,
but yeah, but going back to this, just to finalize this thought, right? We'll get the bounce of the 100-week. You see the 21-week, which is this green and red lines, they're starting to roll over. So I think we could potentially get that relief rally in the next month or so, 2 months, right? And then rally back up to that 98K, 100K level. It's crazy how like these patterns, you take this and put it on the overlay it and just matches kind of like what you were saying or what I was thinking before without putting the pattern on top of it, right? And then that really a rally, everybody gets excited, bull market's on, let's go into Bitcoin. And then we get another dump, right? Which will lead us to the lows. I think in the last call, I said between 60 to 70. I didn't think we were going to break below 90 or that far below 90, honestly, but we did. But this would align with that, right? So if you see the 300-week MA, that's usually where around the levels where we bottom in a bear market. So if you expand this out, right, from here, well, that was a bad line, but you know what I mean, right there.
Yeah.
We get somewhere there. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's my case. Again, long term, absolutely going to Bitcoin. If you just want to be a long term holder, buy right now. Right now, it might go down, but doesn't matter if you buy at 80,000 or 70,000. Long term, it doesn't really matter that much, right? If you're a trader or if you need the money, you might want to get out on that relief rally, right? It just depends what you're looking at, what's your trading style, and so on. But for me, this is kind of the base case for Bitcoin. Now, when we go into a bear market and we see these declines, there's a lot of volatility in alts. We've already seen a lot of alts go, lose half their value. By the time they get here, majority of alts will lose up to 90% of their value, right? Obviously, the bigger ones will keep some of that value, and some of them may even rally in a bear market. But the altcoin market in general, 90+% of altcoins are kind of meme coins and shit coins. Honestly, they're gonna lose all that value.
Yeah.
The last thing on this, it also lines up with the previous high, as we saw last cycle. It went down to 20,000. Everybody thought 20,000 was it. Then we went down to 15,000. Then you have people calling for 12,000. I think that repeats. I think we get close to the high, which was 69,000. We break below it a little bit. People start calling now. We're gonna go down to 50, 40,000, and then we bounce back up.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, and I think that one thing, you kind of really nailed it there as well. It's like just. But what people need to remember is that everything, in terms of TAs as well, everything's just really reactive. TAs pave a path, like as you can see right there, it paves a path based on historical data as well. Has always somewhat played out, not to the T, but it's it somewhat gives you an idea. But then you've got to take into consideration macro factors as well, and then psychology and whatever, everything else. So it's that's something that everyone needs to take into consideration and I know that, as Nesta, you mentioned, everyone says, you're not a guru. You've been wrong this whole year. You guys have all been wrong this whole year. And yeah, we really did expect somewhat based on history that there would be somewhat of the same patterns, playing out, somewhat of a form of alt season. But again, if you look at retail, you look at like the ISM cycle, manufacturing activity is not expanding. Retail hasn't had any money, so therefore retail hasn't been here. Euphoria hasn't hit. Everything really is just reactive. And so we pivot based on the data that presents, based on the charts as they unfold. Yes, I thought 90K was going to be great support as well. A lot of us did. But now we're here. And so what do we do? What is the next? What's the plan moving forward,
But it's like when everybody thinks the same number is when the market maker is like, okay, you really think that's it? Let's go, right? So it's like, and now it's like my question, because we have this question for you, Adrian, right? It's like, what are the chances for this scenario to happen, right? Like in terms of probability, if you have to throw a number, we're not going to hold you to it, but it's like I would imagine this is your base case.
Yeah. For me, I think this is 60 to 70% what happens. I mean, exactly like this, probably not, but the general trend, I think that's how it happens. So let's say 70%.
Okay, so let's say 70%, right? So like what invalidates this? Because the thing is like we could, right? Like it's history rhymes, but sometimes I'm not say this time is different. I don't want to say those words.
If we recapture the 50 MA, we do something like this, like today and tomorrow before the close, that will invalidate it, right? And I mean, it's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely. We could do something like that, put in new highs, and keep going even higher. Yeah. Potentially, we could do that. I just give it like a 30% chance of that happening, right? Or 20%.
And I would say, and what is your possibility that it just goes sideways for a while and it just consolidates, right? Because the thing is just like there's also maturity in the crypto markets as well, right? Like there's more money in. It takes a lot more money to move prices, right? So it's like, do you think we see, for example, because it's interesting that we saw, like, for example, we saw because I think we were saying it was like, it's not going to, like in the last cycle, people were talking about the idea that we're not going to break the 20K. We're not going to break the 20K. And we weren't under 20, right? So it's like, even sometimes we're thinking, oh, 20K is the bottom. This is like, and then all of a sudden we broke that. And then look at where we are right now. Like,
I think the scenario takes that into account. If you notice the top to bottom, it's almost 80% in the last cycle, right? I think the previous cycle was even more. But in this scenario, if it does play out, right, let's say 60,000, it's only a 50% decline, which is signs that of a maturing market, that you have a smaller gain from bottom to top, which is what, like 600%. Actually, I think this is gonna be bigger. I think this is like 800%, but I didn't go all the way back. Yeah, well, about the same, slightly smaller. But you get what I mean. You get less volatility. There's more money. The market cap of it is a lot bigger. Now you have institutional investors, longer term investors. So you get that volatility slowly declines over time.
Yeah, diminishing losses as well, as well as diminishing returns, right? But what's been really interesting when I'm in a few TA communities, and the bias can flip very, very, very quickly depending on like key levels that are reclaimed. So there really is no long-term bias when it comes to trading and looking at TAs alone. It's just like we just trade what we see there and go with the trend. And then when the trend flips and reverses, and at the moment everyone is on a in the communities I'm in, everyone is looking for that reversal at some point. Should the bull case continue, then the reversal is everyone's looking for that in the next like week or two. But should the bear case be in play, then wait for that retrace, look for weakness there. Depending on your strategy, yes, sell where you want. And if there isn't any, like, I'm positioning myself. People have been asking me, what am I going to do with my positions? Obviously, number one, wait for that second weekly close to confirm. But still, this is not where I'm going to sell. That confirmation comes, wait for the retrace, because there will always be a retrace, and then begin de-risking. But how weak that retrace, that rally, that relief rally, whether it is a relief rally, will then determine how much I will be trimming my positions. So yeah, we just need to see what happens in the next 1 to 2 weeks. It's just my thoughts there. Wow, you have a lot of lines there, Adrian.
And there's actually a chart I put in your community a while back. I think we were like
Yes.
around here with the green
Yeah.
lines. Okay, we get this or we get this one, and
Yes.
this red line. Unfortunately, that's the one that played out. And extending that out, it seems like potentially we might go lower. Again, speculation. Take this with a grain of salt. We're just throwing stuff out there.
Yes.
Kilo of salt, everybody. Kilo of
Yes.
salt. These are opinions. These are what we see based on past experience, and
Yes.
but past results do not guarantee future outcomes. So,
but I would say, even though I'm basically a bear, essentially, if you want to call me that, right? I agree with me. You don't
bearish
sell.
Bitcoin, crazy.
You don't sell right here. Like,
No.
why would you sell?
No.
Right? You're
No.
selling at the lows at this point. Just wait out. You've already taken, this drop from
a
here,
massive
like,
cut. Yeah.
Yes.
If it goes down another 5%, okay, maybe. But then it's gonna bounce back up, right? So just hold it out if you can, right? And wait for that. And then at that point, just don't get trapped into the idea of doubling down once it goes back up, because it could easily come back down. So at that point, just have a plan before it gets there, and then stick to that plan, execute that plan. You may change it if fundamental things change, but that's really the key as an investor. You need to go in with an investment or a trade with a thesis and a plan. And as long as that thesis stays true, you need to stick to your plan. The moment you start moving things around, that's just gambling at that point, right? So you're no longer an investor at that point.
Yeah. I think both sides need to really be respected. And my plan, just thinking out loud, is wait for that retrace. Okay. Start de-risking, but look for weakness. If there's weakness, I'm going to short the market. Well, I will short Bitcoin, because I've actually, like, aside from my spot bags, I also trade outside. So I have been trading, like, I've been shorting and longing, like, certain tokens the past, like, few months. But that's what I'll be doing. But it really is, we just got to wait to see how things look. Technicals, fundamentals, macro, psychology, everything at that very point, and then make a decision and have your invalidations. If you're a trader, have your invalidations always. That's what I'll be doing. And then, look, I'm excited regardless of what's going to happen. I was saying to Nesta today, like, I'm excited for whether it's bear case scenario or bull case scenario, there's always going to be money to be made. And should the bear case play out, that's going to be such a great opportunity in the next few months to accumulating Bitcoin under 100K, under 90,000. Like, come on, that's a steal. That's a steal. And so my portfolio, I mean, I will probably talk about that soon. Nesta.
Yeah, it's up to you. Yeah, for sure. Like, are you talking about the Etoro portfolio, or are you talking about personals?
Nah, that's a little bit different. But in terms of my Etoro portfolio, obviously, like, I have to be, like, definitely much less risky, because I need to take into consideration copiers and followers and all that. But in terms of my Etoro portfolio, look, that's what I'm going to do in terms of, like, de-risking and trimming. But moving forward, after going through what we've been through this year, which has been brutal for crypto traders and investors, also investors, I am going to be a lot heavier in Bitcoin and the large caps. And then I'm going to have, so let's just say, thinking out loud, if I was to think about it right now, my portfolio would look like Bitcoin, Ethereum, potentially Ripple. But again, I will do my research. Where is Ripple going? Is it progressing? Where is Stellar going? And Cardano. So let's just say top five. Top five will probably dominate the portfolio. Then it's going to be AI tech stocks, to diversify as well, like some ETFs as well. Energy sector. Energy is something that we were talking about, which we'll talk about more in next few episodes, in line with the AI play. I think solar is one thing that you're very
I really yeah. There's a couple of companies that I'm like heavy on. Yeah,
Yeah,
just renewables, but not wind. Trump doesn't like wind because it kills the eagles.
yeah,
I think that's the only reason he doesn't like it. But
yeah.
yeah,
And then I'll end up with like the mid kind of like small cap altcoins. I'll always be playing narratives. I'll always be in the crypto space as well, just to chase narratives, find opportunity, look at those like 5x, 10x opportunity. There will always be those opportunities, and it's just like, but I will trade them rather than hold them long term.
yeah.
That would be essentially my portfolio.
You're
No,
saying
I mean,
this for even in the next, for what time frame is that?
I mean, like it really depends on how things play out, but what do you mean? When would my portfolio look like that?
Like, will you be waiting to buy those alts like later in the cycle as they're lower,
Oh no,
or
that would be like the next accumulation phase.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. It's bottomed. Let's say we fall into a bear market now completely, then wait for the bottom. Reassess what all the projects are. Reassess what key narratives are in play. Is the privacy narrative still strong? Is there another? There's going to be so many new narratives. So
like it's interesting. It's interesting because like one of the things you've talked about to me a lot is this is sidetrack, by the way. This is my ADHD kicking in, but it's the privacy narrative. How it's like it's still solid. Like I've seen like Monero. Like I remember Monero when it was like it would just get beaten down, but there seems to be some sort of like liking towards the privacy coins right now, where it's like I don't want you to know where I'm going, and it's like, and Bitcoin has sort of lost that a little bit of that because it's like now it's centralized a little bit, right? So there's like that aspect as well,
But
but
it's not centralized, but it's
of course, yeah,
you've always been able to track transactions. You always
yeah,
have that tracking. If you know where one transaction came from, you can start tracing a lot of other transactions by
okay,
yeah,
using assumptions and so on.
it's the
just one,
fear,
yeah.
the fear of surveillance and
Well,
control now. It's like
well,
double-edged sword, if that even is the right phrase.
yeah,
But we need institutions, we need governments, we need that big money. But we also give up,
a lot,
you know, the control. We have to. It's the
Yeah.
control, the surveillance, and that's why the privacy narrative, potentially not financial advice, need to always research
yeah,
and pivot as time goes by. But that is why Zcash is doing so well. Monero and Dash is somewhat private as well. That's why
yeah.
those three tokens are doing so well. The fear of being, the whole dream and idea of crypto and Bitcoin is to belong to nobody, and it's meant to
Yeah.
be.
The network will continue to exist. You just need like one node outside of it's so you
Yeah,
do see. No, the benefits for Bitcoin. The thing is just like me and Adrian are from Venezuela. Okay, I've seen and I always go back to this sort of narrative, which is like the Venezuelan Bolivar,
That's
right? Like
why I got into
this,
Bitcoin, honestly.
man, it's crazy. Like the narrative, but the thing is just like you hear what happened. Like it's like all of this, right? Like 50, 60, freaking like the Phantom money. This is worth less than the toilet paper I have in my bathroom right now.
Less than a penny.
Less than a penny, all of it combined, and it's like we've seen this, right? So it's like. And now I'm seeing it a little bit with the dollar. Obviously, like the dollar has a lot of strength behind the American government and the monopolization of what's called of violence and all of that stuff, right? So as long as we have the American army, we're gonna be okay. But I
But
mean,
it's
the
still
printing
losing
during
value.
COVID,
It's still losing value. I think
100%.
over the past years, the dollar has lost like 25% of its value.
Yeah,
The problem is that you measure it against other currency that are also losing value. But now you have
correct.
Bitcoin, something that's not a currency, and you clearly see that over time it gains value. I mean, that's the same reason why the stock market. If you look at the stock market compared to like you take into account M2, like money supply, it's not that big of an increase. It's just a lot of dollars that have been printed just pumping
Yeah,
into the market. I mean, a lot of assets are this way. A lot of assets may even be down over the past years when you take that money supply into account.
yeah. No, for sure. So then that's the thing. Like I like the narrative. I'm like the scarcity aspect of it. The rules are set in stone, at least for now. Like again, if it starts changing and again, it changes the fundamentals. So we change sort of the way that we do it, right? And everybody has like a different strategy and a different perception of how much risk you're willing to take, right? So that's where I'm at.
The other thing with Bitcoin and the beauty of it is, if anything, it's the most democratic technology we've ever seen worldwide, right? If you want to change, you can propose any change. Go in. You just got to convince all the miners, all the nodes to switch to that network when you have either a soft fork or a hard fork, right? It's amazing, right? It just automatically, and because people are invested in it, the people that are in it and make those decisions are invested in its future. So they're incentivized to make the decisions that are going to be the best decisions for the platform, the blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain, right? So it's just, I personally believe that we as humans, we are selfish and there's greed just naturally. And that's why markets work. And that's why markets are kind of efficient, right? They're not perfectly efficient. But once you take that into account and you use it as a mechanism to improve and evolve a technology, you get Bitcoin, right? Yeah. Which is, it might be slow to adapt some changes, but that's because it's such a huge network. You need that time to figure out where it's going to go and what decisions to make. You don't make decisions willy-nilly.
Yeah, we don't want an AWS mishap.
Exactly.
That's the truth. No, it's been like the more sort of like the more fragile the internet is. Like we've just seen sort of like the magnitude of these companies too. Like that sort of like they're everywhere. You know what I mean? It's like I always go back to the idea that it's like everybody thought Google was free. Haha.
You're the product.
Joke's on you. You know what I mean? Like they have the most data right now and they're ahead of the AI race. So it's like, yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad to spend money because I was thinking. So this was something that I was like bringing up, right? So it's like many people are making the I think I talked about it for a bit, but it's like it's the idea that you're getting whenever like we're spending I think like $500 billion in AI compute, right? And build out and infrastructure and all that stuff. And that's going to take a while to kind of like get through the economy. But everybody's like, oh, but the LLMs only make this much. Like OpenAI only makes 30 billion. And then Gemini makes XYZ. And then all of these companies make
right now.
The thing is it's right now, but also when search started, they had to build infrastructure, build the networks, build everything, expand it to the rest of the world. And you saw the amount of revenue that came from that. We're going to continue to see this. And it's more adoption. It's more, it's the same with all technology.
Have you asked, any AI, ChatGPT, like, hey, what do you know about me? You should ask that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It remembers you more than
you know yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
Yeah. I asked ChatGPT to not be nice, but brutally honest about me as a person and my weaknesses and what I needed. Nailed it. I'm like, I'm trying not to feel offended.
Yeah, but ask it. It's like it's a really good sort of because I think it's so. I asked ChatGPT this. It was like there were two. I asked ChatGPT, how much do you remember? And he was like, it's around 200 tokens. So based on the context that I have of you, it's around 200 tokens. And I was like, okay, based on normal usage, how much time is that? It's about 2 weeks. So it remembers like 2 weeks of content, of conversations that you have had in all of the history and what it decides that it wants to remember about you.
But you can also tell it to remember certain things.
Yeah. So it's very interesting because it's like, yeah, I've had the conversation where it's like, look, I need you to ask me questions to understand me. And based on the answers that I give you, you're going to input that and you're going to tell me what are the things that I need to work on. What are the past in lives that I'm like looking at about, and it gets it like scary, right?
Now imagine when that data is being leveraged to target you for consumption, for ads, right? You start searching for things and then it already knows who you are, what you like, what your plans are, but now it's going to know how you're feeling just based on what you ask it, what's your mood? And it's going to recommend certain things. When ads start popping in on ChatGPT and all these chats, that's when they're going to start making a huge amount of money. Those conversions are going to be crazy.
Yeah. And not only, and I just think like, because I always go back to this, man, but it's like everybody, whenever you talk to the normal person on AI, right, they're going to be like, yeah, I've used ChatGPT. And like there was one YouTuber that I follow that he was like, and he's like pretty avid investor community, all that stuff. And he put a poll, and it was like the poll talks about like it's like who's paying for OpenAI or who uses the free models versus the paid models, and like 75% of the people are still not paying because it's like I don't want to pay, right? Like it's like I don't want to pay $20. Obviously, I pay the $20 because I'm getting a worker to do some of the tasks that I don't want to do, which the value for me is way higher. You know, so it's like that's less than an hour of work. It's like okay, good. So it's like I just find and not only that, but it's like what we haven't figured out. It's like the data analysis when you're able to give it like a year of data, or increase the amount of tokenization, and it's just like what can we come up with? I mean, we went from have you seen the protein sequencing models?
Yeah.
We went from 1 to 2 a year to 200,000 in the last year. It's like, so it's like in some aspects, it's revolutionary.
Yeah. And on OpenAI and then, well, any chats, right? I think it's that YouTube model where they have that YouTube premium that you get rid of ads, right? I think only like 10% of people actually pay for that. And then that's a revenue generated. That's revenue right there. You're generating based on that subscription. Yeah. But the 90%, I would argue it's even more valuable because then those are the people that you're marketing to, and companies pay you to sell to put ads in their face and their eyeballs, right? So at some point, the free version is gonna be, oh, here's an ad. Do you want to buy this? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you remember? So the way that I see this is like every single company will give you stuff for free, and then they'll sell you stuff even at a loss. Like look at a ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT doesn't make money on the $20 subscription. They don't make money on the $200 subscription, right? So it's like that tells you that it's like probably YouTube makes so much more money from the ads that they're selling you on a day-to-day basis than the $10 that you're potentially.
Yeah.
It's like so it's like that tells you it's like okay, the $20 maybe it's not that bad. You know what I mean? It's like you're getting a lot. Like it's like I just started paying for premium. I'm not gonna lie, because like I was traveling and I was like, I don't want to watch ads. I want to download the things. I want to just watch the stuff on the plane and stuff. And I'm like, I don't think I'm going back. You know what I mean? It's like obviously like you can. The thing is, the problem I have with these companies, and the reason I don't invest in Netflix, and I'm going to attack Netflix investors here. The problem I have with Netflix is the fact that Netflix has one major problem, which is piracy, and it's like Netflix is $1 away from everybody moving to piracy, right? So like it's a very liquid product. Right. So it's like, and you get like, they're better services, you know, I'm not going to talk about them because it says, but there are places where you can watch Netflix without paying for Netflix, you know, magic. But, you know, so that's my Netflix rant, but yeah,
I think that's more prominent outside
the US. Yeah, for sure. You know, it's like, and the thing is like the American consumer is still the strongest one. You see it in pricing, you see it in many things, right?
And the biggest sheep. The U.S. market, U.S. consumer.
They're like, credit card.
Yeah, let me buy the newest iPhone. Yeah, for no reason. It's the same as the last one.
Just swipe my credit card. Yes, we're going for brunch.
All right, sell Netflix. No, I'm not.
Sell Netflix. The thing is, just look, like Netflix is okay.
Position, but my Netflix is up like 100.
Yeah, the thing is, just like it is, like it's still a great company, right? It's just like for me because I'm from Venezuela. You know what I mean? Like we've been pirating CDs since the dawn. Like you would walk to any traffic light in Venezuela and you would find any CD and any movie you wanted.
It was even more convenient than Netflix, honestly.
Yeah. It's like you're driving home and it's on the way, and then this is what I'm going to watch for the next couple of days. You know, it's like,
but I agree with you, and they also have to pay for that those that the product that they sell. There's a substitute. It's in economics, the elasticity of
the elasticity of demand. Yeah,
you can go watch something else. You watch a new movie, another show. It's fine, right? But things like even the AI bots. If you have the brand and the first, Chat GPT is now that, right? It's now essentially the Google for AI chatbots. The other thing, Nestor, is once they give you something for free, no ads. YouTube didn't always have ads, right? But at one point they put in ads. Same thing. Yeah. You're used to like this no ads. Once you start putting limitations or putting ads,
open the funnel.
Like, I need to pay, even if it's $5, right? Yeah. You're gonna pay because you're already used to that way of using it.
Yeah.
That was the thing about Google, that I was just like, everybody was like, oh my god, Google search revenue, and everybody was focused on last year, like last quarter revenue, and it was like revenue's dropping because of AI, and this is gonna. And I'm like, you know how many like faucets YouTube has on the background that they can just like turn on? Like they've just increased like ads on YouTube from 1 to 2, and it's
Mm.
like bam, crazy. It's like we are so like, and it's like like even in search, they just added an AI mode. You can take the AI mode off, and then now it's just like small things. It's like, okay, like they make Google's revenue has been made from the first link being an ad. That's it. Like it's like now we're just going to do the same, but on like ChatGPT at some point, or like the LLM models and whatever. It's like I just didn't see it. I just that was it was my second biggest buy this year for sure. Like I increased my
Cool.
Google position drastically. I liked it. I liked it a lot, and
I
everybody
mean,
was telling me,
it's
and
been
that's what you.
outperforming the market, right?
Yeah, 100%. In the last 3 months, they're up like 70%. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like and it's like sometimes it's like you're looking for like you have a thesis, and then somebody tells you, and it's like, hey, like this is happening, and you're like, yeah, like, but that doesn't change why I invested in this company. So the real reason and what I want to take away from this is like understand why you're buying something, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's a company, whether it's an altcoin, right? It's like you're buying into an ecosystem, and you have to understand why you're buying this, right? It's like if you're buying a company, you're buying the cash flows. If you're
Yeah.
buying, whoop, there we go. If you're buying an altcoin, you're buying a project, you're buying a community, you're buying all those different things. So that you have to trust and believe what you're actually buying, and not just buy because, oh, I want to make money. That's not a valid reason to buy an asset. It's like if you want to buy money, just keep cash. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
so
You're
that's my
buying
at least.
So based on technical analysis, we'll be at 300. No, I'm just kidding.
It just go up. It just to the moon. It's like
It's up. And then this is the thing also, like you're buying
look
you're
at the
buying
flag.
you're not just buying on like current valuations, you're buying the potential and the vision of the company. And I trust that these giants will always innovate. People get so worried that something new will come in and it'll just totally obliterate them. And the same with altcoins as well. Solana, Ethereum. Solana is the Ethereum killer, etc., etc. But yeah, with like you're buying a vision when it comes to tech. Crypto is tech as well. Crypto is not just money. Um, yeah, look at and try to see where things are heading. How is it going to redefine society? That's really it. That's what I look at when I try not to. If as a trader, I look for at short term price action, but as an investor, it's just like buying into the vision and understanding the psychology of just everything of the world. How is
Yeah.
it reshaping our behavior? That's really it.
Nice. Okay. Anything? Well, well, you know what? Like, I don't know if we've touched on this, but it's like, have we touched on like bull bear cases? Like, we've touched on Bitcoin a little bit, right? Because that's
Sure.
what one thing I just want to know. One thing I want to know, because when we looked at the S&P 500, the S&P 500 is still looking very pretty, right? And a lot of people are kind of freaking out, and even if you look at the fear and greed indexes that they have for like, it's like we're extreme fear on everything, but it's like the one thing that freaked me out this week, right? Like I'm going to talk about the negative sentiment here. It's like the one thing that did freak me out this week was the sort of like it's not bad, right? Like it's like if we look at like long frame and we go back, right? And like let's say things get really sour. Like let's say massive unemployment, we hit 15% unemployment. Like people are running to the banks just because there's no liquidity, right? And like shit hits the fan 1929, right? It's like we can go down a lot more. COVID, what was the peak to trough from COVID, right? It's like we're still S&P 500 is still we're sitting at a very pretty level right now, right? So it's like and I like when markets go down because it's like it shows the reality of what markets are. The longer you stay in the markets, the more you understand that there are opportunities when there is like mispricing of assets. But this can get a lot worse. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't be afraid to take cash. It's like if you're not sleeping at night, you have too much risk. If you're having
Yeah.
issues, you have too much risk. So it's like, and if it's like you put the house down and you bought a house, why are you risking your house to buy another house? You already have a house. So it's like understand what risks levels are in here, right? Like there's a sense of responsibility on the investor side to understand like, hey, markets don't just go up, they correct, right? So it's like what was the downturn? It was a 36% downturn. What would that make the S&P
in like
go
4
down
weeks? In 4 weeks, so
that was a quick drop. So it's like the
Yeah.
question is, like, what would happen here? It's like that's a $2,000 drop right there.
we go from here.
4,400.
Well, look where it goes.
Yeah.
Hey.
Right. But the thing is like
That is incredible.
a black swan
Yes.
makes the market freak out, right? And it's like people are not asking questions; they're finding answers, and the answers are my cash is in my account. So it's like it's something to be like paying attention to. It's like even if we look at the drop from April, it's still
that was a big one, honestly.
That's massive.
it was because it was like everybody just assumed the worst, right? Everybody just assumed that this is over, right? So
And
it's like
fundamentally, not much had changed at that point.
nothing.
That's the
Nothing.
problem, yeah.
It was a black swan move without a black swan event.
Yeah, man, it was look. I was expecting Trump to come in and say, this was my base case. And I was like, it's funny because it ended up being at the base case. But my base case was Trump's going to come in and he's going to be like, hey, like, we're going to go 20%. Like, I'm going to be aggressive. And then we're going to meet somewhere in the middle, 10%. And I was like, that would be okay. Like, market will hurt, but it won't. But then he comes in with this, like, fairy dust tale of, like, trade deficits are tariffs, apparently. And all of a sudden, it's like China 50% and all of the crazy numbers that he started pumping out. And then that was just like if you had told me the day before, oh, yeah, Trump's going to say, like, on average, it's going to be like around 40%. Excuse you? What do you want? Nobody was expecting this. And then you saw that massive drop just because everybody just assumed it was like this completely stops trade between the world. This was a COVID size event. And then we saw the reality of it, right? And this was like the market took a little while. So that's where the opportunities come. Having a little bit of cash on the sidelines there.
I think it also, unfortunately, there's some politics that also go into play in that, right? Like you said, for like 6-7 months, everybody was worried about, oh my God, this tariffs, everything's gonna shoot up in terms of prices. I mean, there was small increases, but for the most part, even Powell said it, a couple of months ago. It's like, the expectations of price increases from tariff the actual increases from tariffs did not meet the expectations we had.
Yeah.
So
and he just kept moving them forward. He just kept moving them forward.
It's the biggest troll, honestly.
Yeah. He wanted to buy. He just didn't trust the Biden economy, so he didn't want to buy that. And he was upset he didn't make any money during the Biden 4 years,
Yeah, it's funny when he goes and we see like his son and his family buying all this crypto, and then he goes and say, yeah, Bitcoin #1, crypto #1, US. We love it so much.
Yeah. He's trading in the background for sure.
No manipulation at all. No. Yeah.
What do you think Zcash is up so much?
Zcash.
There's a Trump buyer. It's Baron Trump.
Monero's up as well. I mean, it's just the privacy narrative taking over us.
Yo, we have a question here in the chat, and I'm gonna let you because I know you both are sort of like in the micro strategy sort of sphere. So it'd be interesting to see thoughts here.
I have a lot to say in this one, but maybe I'll let you go first.
No. You
No, you go first. You go first.
No.
I
don't really...
Okay. I think it's actually close to a short-term bottom.
Yes.
I mean, I saw this a while back when I don't know if that's if you were in the group back then, but I took this trade back last year, maybe around here, September, October, and I wrote this whole thing up all the way there. I remember my portfolios going up, and I was like, what is going on? And when you get that feeling that you can't believe how much money you've made in such a short amount of time, that's when you take profits. At least some. Take 10%, 20%, half maybe of the table. But look at this just massive bump from here in like 12 weeks. That is insane, right? I did have a little bit, and I wrote some of it down. Eventually, I cut my losses around 400, and then it just kept underperforming Bitcoin. Right, the whole idea with MicroStrategy is that it's a leverage play on Bitcoin, and it's a infinite money glitch by Saylor, where you're using TradFi to raise money and then buy more Bitcoin, right? In theory, that works great, right? In practice, what has been happening is what are the ATMs, right? So essentially selling shares, diluting existing shareholders to raise that additional capital to buy more Bitcoin. If you go on the MSTR Reddit, it's a crazy place. I always get downvoted on anything I post there. But they keep saying that Bitcoin per share, right? It's always going up. It's always going up. It's always going up. That's great if you're getting that Bitcoin at the current prices. You know, we saw its net asset value. I think at this point it might have reached a high of three times. So you were paying 3 times as much for that Bitcoin per share that if you went and bought Bitcoin. So why would I pay right now? It's Bitcoin's let's just say it's 100,000. It's like you're paying 300,000 in Bitcoin to get into that, with the idea that that leverage is going to continue to increase, that valuation is going to continue to increase, and it just didn't, right? The market kind of saw that and said, "Well, this is kind of crazy. Yeah, you're raising money, but you're essentially diluting existing shareholders to raise those additional funds." Because there was a switch in there where Saylor switched from raising debt, just actual debt, to just selling new shares. And the effects of the market are shown here, right? Over time, it just keeps going down. We get another pump, but then this whole time it has underperformed Bitcoin after that initial peak. And I think eventually, it's going to, maybe the 150 level, it might bottom. If you rode this whole thing here, you might as well hold. Wait for a bounce if you want to get out. But I think around 300 right here, I was saying this is going to collapse, and I began shorting it. You can go back to the group and just showing like all my shorts. I mean, it's been how many weeks down? That's like 8-9 weeks. So in 6 weeks, it had lost 54% of its value.
Because they're scared that they're going to have to liquidate their positions, right?
I do think it's not a crazy thing to think. And one of the things that happens in crypto bear markets, there's always some sort of unexpected catalyst. Last time we saw it was the whole Terra Luna, the Celsius, all those companies being bankrupt. Now, I'm thinking there's got to be something. I just don't know what it is, right? Because for us to go down to say 50, 60,000, there has to be something that people can attribute. Oh, this is why that happened, right? So I'm thinking it's if MicroStrategy starts selling Bitcoin, that might be why. But if you look at the net asset value, has gone from close to 3 all the way down to 1, and now it has in some days actually gone negative, right? Meaning that you're getting Bitcoin per share at a discount, which is kind of crazy, right? So I think it is near a short-term bottom. I think long-term, as long as it survives, it should be fine. And I'm definitely going to be a buyer as we get closer to a confirmation of a bottom in crypto in general. But to me, right now it's trading essentially like an alt.
Yeah.
We have this question here just to put it put it out there. It's hard to say because I think it's just like predictions on this is kind of difficult, right? Like there's so many variables that play into this, right? But 480, Bitcoin has to continue has to we're talking about the bull case in the near future for that to happen, right?
Yeah.
We're talking what's the growth that it would need to have from here till.
It's not crazy. It's double. It did that last year, but we were at the beginning, or
it's a 200x.
A mature bull cycle. 480, right? I think it does it in 2027. Honestly,
if it doesn't collapse.
Yeah, if it survives, it will get to those levels again in 2027, potentially even late 2026, depending on how the overall market behaves. But yeah, it will get there, assuming it survives. Now, for me, I believed in it long term initially, And then the fundamentals changed once it started issuing a lot more shares, and it started creating all these other types of shares that are promising 10% returns. Because at some point you're gonna run out of money to raise, and if Bitcoin's going down and you go down, I think their average cost is around like 76,000 per Bitcoin. So at some point you might be forced to liquidate some Bitcoin at a loss. So it's not it's not bear market proof, right? And I just don't understand, because if you see his buys, sailors, a lot of times he's buying the tops. It's like,
But
why?
he has to. No, I think that's the rule that he needs to follow. I don't know exactly the explanation, but I don't think MicroStrategy are allowed to buy at the bottom. They need to buy when the price goes up.
They need the price to be high, their share price to be high, in order to issue more shares. Otherwise, it's net diluted.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, he's doing financial wizardry in there. Like it's a financial wizardry company. It's like, we're trying to create different products and different things for different people based on, and it's like it gets to a point where an investment becomes too complicated for me.
It's like me saying, I'm gonna go open a bunch of credit cards. I'm gonna go open a bunch of loans. I'm just gonna borrow as much money as I can, throw it into Bitcoin over time. I know that Bitcoin over a 4-year period, 5-year period, goes up, 50, 100, 200%, whatever that number is. As long as I'm able to hold and not have to fully repay that debt within that 4-year time frame, I'm good. That's the assumption, right? And anybody can do this, right? He's just doing it at a much, much bigger scale, leveraging traditional finance, fundraising.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm so distracted right now. I'm thinking of placing a Zcash trade.
Mimi goes good. Mimi's always paying attention to markets. That's
I've
the
been
thing.
trading Zcash. I've been
Yeah,
trading
yeah.
Zcash so much. I love it. It's the only one that's really been doing well for me. But yeah, I'll do that soon. MicroStrategy, I mean, like you've said it all. I mean, I agree with you. It's probably going to bottom soon. At the moment, I'm long on MicroStrategy. I just need to really look into it properly. It'll probably a relief rally for MicroStrategy. Could consider taking profit in my positions and then shorting it. Don't know yet, but going to wait till we get there. But long term, look, I think Sailor, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I think he's a really smart guy. I think he's got a really, really good strategy in place, and no pun intended. But yeah, that's just my thought at the moment. But again, it's just you have to see how Bitcoin performs as well, crypto.
It's tied to the price of Bitcoin at the end of the
Correlated.
day.
Yeah.
So
for the most part. It did decouple, but it just quick, just to finalize this on, if you want to look at the technicals, right? You see it's getting into a level of support here at this 170 level, right? So I think it might be getting ready to bounce, just again, like Bitcoin, just like the equity markets. That's kind of my assumption for the next month. Essentially, we get a huge bounce of everything into December, get the Santa Claus rally, and then we'll see where the market goes. But yeah, short term on technicals, bounce up 170, potentially go back up to the 21, maybe around the 300 low. By that point, it'll be like maybe 250-ish, or even close to this level right here, between 240 to 250. And then we'll see where the market is overall. It might go down, it might go up and break above that.
Yeah. And just to let everybody know, like just don't long if you're trading. Just don't, obviously, if you're new to it, just don't long just because you think it's a bottom. There needs to be like reversal signals as well. And everybody's got different TAs as well. But
and stops.
And stops. Stop losses are very important when you're trading. Have your invalidations in place, or else you will get wrecked, as we have seen.
As we have in the past. That's how you learn.
10/10, 10th of October. That was brutal. But yeah, I'm only scalping. I don't swing trade anymore in crypto because it's been too market makers hunting liquidity, like can't control it. So scalping.
And the thing is like each market, like the thing is we are as investors and and traders, we are here to play the game that's put in front of us. You know what I mean? So it's not that we are, sometimes you like in the long term, yeah, like I'm bullish Bitcoin, right? Okay, but that's a different game from the short term game. So there's just different strategies and different ways to kind of approach everything, right? So it's like, yeah, what's your time horizon? What's the value proposition of the portfolio? What are you trying to accomplish here? These are questions that each person asks themselves when they're investing, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, look, sometimes you're gonna get hurt. Again, we go back to the idea. This is a risk. This is a risk market. It's like, so understand that there's risk on both sides. The higher it goes, the more probability could come down. So it's like, and the lower it goes, the more probability could go up. What's
Yeah.
that probability? That's for each person to decide, right? So
I have a question for Mimi.
Yes.
When at what point would you say yes, we are in a bear market in crypto?
Okay. Such a good question. Thanks for throwing that at me.
Yeah,
At what?
sorry to I put you on the spot with
No,
that
no,
one.
no, no. Look, as I said before, like technicals, I understand. I understand. I don't think we are in a bear market yet. So at what point? I don't think the structure is really broken on a macro level. Look, 50-week close, second week close. Okay, cool. Wait for the relief rally. Find weakness there. When I short it, I'm going to de-risk just to be, on both sides, ready for both sides. But the moment I see weakness in that relief bounce, I'm pretty confident. Yeah, okay. That's weakness there. I'm going to short it with invalidations, of course. I'm going to short it, and then I'll have a lot of cash by then as well. Yeah, take de-risk, trim my spot positions. But there's just still. It really depends. Like, okay, at that point, I'll say yes, we're in a bear market. Again, I just don't think it'll be a very deep bear market and a long bear market.
Right.
But that's probably where I would be like, yep, we are in a bear market. So I will be waiting to accumulate when it bottoms out. And when will it bottom out? I think we're kind of all sort of on the same page that probably like in a few months' time rather than a year or 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Quarter three, possibly. Quarter two, possibly. Around about that, Q2, Q3. I just don't think right now, based on my own view, that we are in a bear market. But it is bearish based on technicals, for sure. Should it fall below 75K, that is a complete break of structure. And then, yeah. But by then I'd be out. I'd be out in a lot of my spot.
Fair enough. It's I think that's fair. It sounds like
Yeah.
a lot like when you hear the election results. It's too early to call. Yeah.
It's like there's so many analysts that are just like nobody knows, depending what you really look at. It's just like, yes, this says that we are in a bear market, but this says that we're not. So we don't really know. Let's just give
Yeah.
it another 1 to 2 weeks, but then I will begin still de-risking before.
It's what Nestor said earlier, right? You essentially make educated guesses and you take on that risk. And
Yes.
if you get it right, then you get rewarded. If you get it wrong, then yeah, you lose whatever
Yeah.
you threw.
that's
at
what I
that-
like about
that-
this business. I'm not gonna lie. Like I like the fact that it's like it's not a boss telling me, "Oh, you did a great job," or maybe he doesn't like me and whatever. No, this is like, yo, the market decides. Mr. Market is sitting in the throne and he decides whether the people get paid. And sometimes the market just is wrong. Like the market was wrong with Nvidia at 90, and I was like, okay, thank you so much for the gift. And sometimes you take the gifts that life gives you, and sometimes you have to give gifts. It's part of the money. Money come, money
Forced
goes.
gifts.
Of course, and it's like, well, yeah, I'll buy it from you, and then, oh, yeah, okay, maybe I didn't buy it at the right price. Okay, it happens. It's like I'm not coming here and saying, hey, I'm a perfect trader.
It's,
Everybody in touch, guaranteed to make money, because it's like the only time I've heard those things is when somebody wants to steal my money. They're guaranteed to make money, and they grab your money and take it away, and they guaranteed made money, but you lose. He's like,
They're guaranteed to make money from your money. You're not. Yeah, I mean it's all about psychology at the end of the day. It's like I said
Mm,
before, like on trades where you're up, 200, 300, 400% in a short amount of time. That euphoria, you need to catch that and say, hey, this is not normal. Like
yeah,
this feeling that I'm feeling is not normal. Because then you
yeah,
think irrational. This is gonna keep going up. That's something that I've learned. That in previous, I've had positions, especially now that I'm more into futures, right? So it's leveraged. So I see it go up, and there's been times that I used to go all the way back down, right?
yeah,
Because oh, just give it some room. It's good. No, you got it. Once you start feeling that excitement, take half of it off the table, and
Yeah,
then you got to be
that
good with
helps
it.
with the options trading.
Yeah,
That
that and
helps.
the stop losses, right? Have your stop losses before, and you buy it as soon as you buy it. Set your stop loss. Otherwise, you're not gonna want to set a stop loss because oh, I'm just gonna wait for it to bounce. Next hour is gonna come up and then I'll exit. Have your stop loss. It's for trade, right? Investment,
Mhm.
different scenario. But anyway, just a little bit on psychology of trading.
Well, it's
that's
interesting.
it. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna give it to you, Amy. Mimi, sorry.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was gonna give it to you because it's like I agree with you. The thing is just like even in investing, you sort of get the same feelings, right? Like we were in this euphoria level when, like, for example, me, Nvidia sitting at 220, like 212, I think it was the top price, and you're like, I am a genius.
Yeah.
I mean, like, friggin', I'm sitting on top of the world. You know what I mean? I want to buy this. I'm gonna buy this. Friggin', I want an extra ice cream. Haagen-Dazs it is. Like when you feel this sort of euphoria, you know what I mean? It's like, and it's like, oh, I'm just so like, oh my, you have to be careful. You have to like humble yourself, and the market does that. If you don't do that to
Hmm.
yourself, it's gonna do it to you, and it has done it to me in the past. It's like, oh, like, don't I wish I had sold Nvidia a couple of weeks ago at 210? Yeah, 100%. I wish I had sold and rebought at these prices, 100%. But I don't. I'm still up on my position. I'm still happy with wherever I'm at, right? So that's where the psychology kind of plays in, right? It's like, and obviously, like whenever it's funny because it's like the feelings that we're getting to whenever you're looking at the markets and you're looking at your account and it's going down, those are also the feelings where I've been sort of like in my house, just like thinking, I could have done better. What did I miss? How did, and you start sort of like shitting on yourself. But the reality is that
Yeah.
I find that those are the moments to buy. It's like I get more bullish now. It's like, okay, I'm feeling like bad. I'm feeling bad. Let's enter.
And you got to embrace those losses because every loss is a learning experience. You have
Tuition
to be
cost.
okay with, for example, like going back to stop losses, right? This year has been the biggest like growth point for me is embracing small losses. You're gonna have losses. You're gonna have small losses. You don't have an option. You have to be okay with it. You need to embrace when you say, hey, I only lost, half a percent on this trade. I could have lost 10, 20%. When the market went down, I told you I went heavy on the market after Nvidia, right? I had my stop losses. When I saw the market go down, yeah, I felt shitty that I lost some money, but then it started going lower and lower and lower. It's like, okay, this is much better than having lost, 30, 40% of my entire portfolio on something going down that much.
Yeah. Mimi, because I
It's, I
know
mean,
that you.
I was just going to say, you just got to keep your ego in check. It's all about ego at the end of the day. Like the market will continue to humble us, and taking those small losses, it hurts because your ego takes a hit. You never want to be wrong. We never want to be wrong. But ourselves, we are the best indicator, and especially as we are become more experienced. You are the best indicator because people who have just started out will feel the fear or the euphoria first, okay, and then when it does get, this is what I see for myself, when it starts to, I'm still human, and when that doubt starts to like hit me and I'm like, yeah, this is close to the bottom. Like when it starts to hit like the experienced or whoever, I'm not saying I'm a guru or experienced, but I'm saying it starts to hit you because you've been through it over again. You're like, wow, this is probably the bottom, like really close. And my thoughts are like, I want to sell. I'm like, yeah, this is where you buy. You just got to have that. You got to do the opposite of what your mind is trying to tell you, and it's something to master over time. Never going to be perfect. No, you're never going to be perfect. So that's all.
Yeah. No, it's the truth. It's the truth. By the way, I feel an attack coming. Freaking Walmart. Freaking hate Walmart. So I look, I love Walmart. I think Walmart's a great company. I have Walmart. I own Walmart.
Have you been
Both
to
by-
Walmart?
I have, and
You
it's
love it?
okay. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay. It's an experience, to say the least.
Have you been to
Right.
Walmart in the U.S.?
Yes,
Okay.
I haven't.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's heavy. Like, it's like, because the thing
Depends
is like
what
Walmart.
areas.
Yeah,
It depends what area you're in.
Walmart is like a little bit more of a fancy like city market for like the third world. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm kind of used to that. It's just like products go nuts, and then it's like, okay, but it's like the thing is like I like the like I like what Walmart does, and it's like obviously like how they like you can see the difference, for example, between Walmart and Costco, how they treat their suppliers, how what sort of like engagement you have, right? So it's like company culture and all that stuff. But the thing is just like the problem that I've had with Walmart and even Costco at this point is the fact that I think we've been in like the markets have been calling a recession for the last 3 years since 2022. The market was right a little bit in 2022 and we recovered from that. And then it's been a recession every single metric. So every single metric, people go from the companies that are making tons of money and they go into safety and they go into safety and they go into safety. Oh, Walmart will never collapse. Walmart has a 1.2 price to sales ratio. It's never going to collapse. It's never going to collapse. And people just keep buying and buying and buying and buying and buying. And it's like, oh no, but Walmart is a tech company. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's a freaking, it's a producer. And I know they're selling online, but it's still not as good as, like, it's increasing and it's going up and it's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, I like Amazon's business better than the Walmart business. So it's like, my question then goes down to, I just think it's overvalued right now. You know what I mean? It's like, I should be selling some of it, but I also like holding the stock because it just continues to perform like crazy. So it's like, I really love the stock, right? Do I think it's like a little bit off, like value sentiment? I mean, yes, it's like, but I don't take it like, it's a great company to hold, and it's been a great company, and it's made tons of people tons of money. Like, it's just, and it's made me tons of money. I think my return on Walmart is sitting like at 100%, 200%. So that's like, it's good. I'm happy with it, but it's just like, I don't want to add at this levels, right? Because it's like, if we really have the recession story that we're seeing, we're going to see everything come down, right? Like, we're going to see margins get squeezed. We're going to see these companies take a hit. And the fact is that Walmart is actually more hurt because of the AI story than Walmart in this case. So it's like,
it's safety without going full safety, right? So I was looking at kind of like the COVID to see how much it dropped. We saw that the overall market dropped I think it was like
30%, we said. 35%.
Walmart only dropped 17%, right?
Yeah.
So even here, like you said, I think it's been outperforming some, not all, but it's kind of that safety without being fully safety. So you still get the best of both worlds.
You get growth and you get safety.
Yeah,
but then
the
question is just like,
yeah.
Then what happens when the market realizes this? And then you sort of get a correction. So like the thing is, look, I like the stock. Would I buy it at these levels? I wouldn't. I prefer to buy, like, in all honesty, I prefer to buy tech. I like Meta. At the levels that we're currently at than more safety. And like even Target, like, I don't know, like even Target has like more normal valuations, even though it has done nothing. You know what I mean? It's like they've had the issue with the woke sort of marketing, and then they started running into problems with the selling
their
products.
Bad chart.
Yeah. But then like I'm in it at 90. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you look at PE ratios and stuff, let me show you this, right?
So you round trip this?
Like I've never paid attention to Target, but it has had so many bad news that I'm like, okay, like it's just like, just put what's the Sweeney girl, what she did for the other company. Like, it was like,
American
what was
Eagle?
the company that ended up going? Yeah, American Eagle. You look at that stock and it's like, it's insane. It's like, it's all like right now it's all branding and marketing, it feels like, right? And it's like, if they wanted to go cheaper, they could, right? So it's like,
so it's woke versus MAGA is what you're saying.
Correct, kind of thing. So it's like, it just feels that it's like getting punished, and it's been beating earnings in the last couple of quarters. It's starting to sort of like bottom, I think.
This is an
so it's
interesting
like,
chart.
it's like, I'll show you this. Like, let me share screens here.
It has a very, very defined cycles. This American Eagle. Is this maybe like, when jeans are fashionable and when they're not?
maybe, but look at this. It's like, look at the PE ratio, right? It's like a 10 PE right now. It's
Yeah.
a forward PE of 11. Look at the price to sales. Like, it's even better than freaking Walmart's. Yeah, it has a ton of debt, and it's still like, but it's like if we go into a recession, Walmart is going to outperform. But it's been outperforming, and we've been going into a recession for a while, and I just don't see it. And the last couple of earnings, they've been good, right? So it's like the last couple of earnings, management is starting to pick it up. Yeah, maybe not so much, but they're starting to pick it up. They're starting to get there, right? It's like, I think there's more upside. And the question is what do you think of the upside? Maybe I'm wrong, but it's okay. It's a small position for him. So I'm not like, it's not, the thing is just like defensive is not crazy for me. But yeah, insane. It's just, it's like, and then I don't know, like what's the Target and the Walmart experience for you, Adrian?
Well, I'm not in any of those companies, but
no, but I mean like the experience to go shop there.
Oh, I mean, Walmart is, I can't remember the last time I was at a Walmart. I would say it's low to medium low income. That's kind of like their target market.
Yeah, it's competitive pricing.
Right, competitive pricing, just the generic stuff. It's good. There's Instagram page that's got called People of Walmart. So that will give you an idea what it's like to go to some of the worst Walmarts. There's also nice Walmarts in nicer areas. So it just depends. But overall, it's fine. Target is definitely a more higher end experience compared to Walmart. Think of your like soccer moms. I used to drop off my kid. I need to get some stuff to make dinner for tonight, and they also have like oh, this is our nice candles, and a little bit more.
That was the problem. The problem that Target had, which is the thing that I like saw in their marketing problem, was like because you're talking about Target just now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Target is like the white mom family house kind of thing, and they were like, we're gonna go woke, and it's like, what are you doing?
I mean, that's like a perfect market to work for.
No, but what you want to do is
middle-aged women.
No, but you go white family, like you go family values, all of that stuff, because you're still having that issue. It's like the issue is that it's like the family values are getting lost, blah, 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 all these different sort of like strategies here. So it's like, I just think
I don't really understand the whole woke thing when companies do that, because it has failed miserably every single time.
The problem
is Jaguar.
Why?
It's a perfect example.
The problem is like whatever the new cycle is, they're gonna go and try to make right. It's like everything is cool until companies start making memes, and it's like, okay, it's not cool anymore. Even woke became uncool by companies. So it's like, bro, just relax it. It's okay. Well, like it's okay. Everybody live their life how they want to live it, but it's like don't make the candle on the kitchen table. This. So that's my take. I don't know. I think Target could do better. Could do
if you're in the market, to like sell something or provide a service, just shut up, provide that service, and focus on. I don't need to be focusing on whether all this other stuff that doesn't really matter in your specific line of business.
Yeah. It's just like the marketing side. The marketing can make or break a company, and for Target, it broke it nastily. So, okay. Anything else you guys want to add before we call it? It's been an hour and 30 minutes. It was longer than I expected it to be. Yeah. It's good conversation. It's
been a long one.
Very good. I'm about to place a Zcash trade, but not financial advice. But I'm just waiting.
I am taking the weekend off. Last week was heavy. And I just almost finished my bathroom. Almost. Because there's always going to be an almost. And my bathroom is right now taking longer than the freaking cathedral in Barcelona.
It always takes longer.
It always takes longer. And it's always dustier too. So.
Well, sorry to spring this stream on you. It's like decided last night. Let's do a stream.
And things is market spooked, right? Like market spooked right now. A lot of people have been entering at current levels. People were euphoric, and when Bitcoin broke the 100K, a lot of people bought at those levels. And hey, it's part of the process.
I'm getting ready to go full on equities again.
I mean, I'm in a very tricky position because I'm like in synthetic position. So it's like I'm 100% invested in synthetics. So it's like I'm sitting on 35% cash right now, but with like leverage ETFs, options, and a mixture of all of it. And I just don't like the risk that I'm holding into this. Like I'm still up, but it's like I don't like it.
That probably means you got to buy more.
I have been. That's the problem. I just keep buying, and it's like I just keep buying, and I'm like, it's like I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling it. Like this is okay, and I just like I haven't seen the confirmation that just like I think it's just like the cycle. At least for me, is that there is panic in the markets, okay, and then you feel the panic. Then you take a little bit of time to kind of analyze and realize what really is happening. And you make decisions, it's just like, and that's it. You make a decision. Not making a decision is a decision. So just make one and accept it and move on. And it's like
that's where I'm at. And that's right. I was kind of like, again, I told you when it was dropping, I was like going in, stopped, going in, stopped, and I just didn't see it. Usually you see those drops, and then within like a couple hours you see a huge bounce. I didn't see that. It's like, okay, that's kind of concerning. So even right now on Friday, I was looking, it did go up a little bit, and I was like, kind of, damn, I shouldn't have sold. But then
you gave it away. You gave away some of it.
Yeah, and then it's like, I don't know, it seemed a little bit weak, and now like Bitcoin kind of dumped this morning as well a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we get a little. I think I still my base is a little bit more fear over the next couple of weeks until we get that rate cut, or at least clarity on what the rate cut is going to be.
Yeah. No, I think we get a cut. Yo, I've been saying we get a cut.
Same.
We're getting a cut. Like the fact that the market thought we weren't going to get a cut was outrageous. It was like everything the Fed has said is like, look, we're waiting if and one of the lines in the minutes that I was like, okay, so it was when the Fed said, hey, if tech valuations come down, like if tech value comes down, this could incite a recession, right? Like this could be the start of a recession, because it's like dot-com bubble, there wasn't a recession before. It was the dot-com bubble that caused the panics and the recession and then everything to come down after. So it's like the Fed doesn't want to do that. And the fact that they're paying attention to tech valuations tells me that they're at least like making sure that the things are, and the Fed is data dependent. So you just look at the data and then you make decisions based on the data. Unemployment in October was awful. Even though we're not getting the data, it was awful. So it's like, we're getting this, like, I just, they have to cut. Like we have already started a cutting cycle, and I think it's going to continue.
When is the next decision?
December 19, I think. No, December 10. December 10.
No, after that one.
January, give me 2 seconds. January something. So, no, I don't. Because it's 10 meetings a year. So, it's going to be, let me just refresh, 28th of January. And I think we get a cut there too. And I think we get a cut there too.
And then Powell is chair until when?
Till March. Oh, no, sorry. March or May. I'm not sure. Powell.
Yeah, I think it's May.
Yeah, I think it's May.
Top of my head.
I think he's done a great job. In all honesty.
Yeah, I agree. May. I think that there's also a play for, this again, just pure speculation, kind of like the edge cases. But, the legacy he's leaving behind, right? He may want to be a little bit more careful. But that goes both ways, right? Because if he does a big cut, we may see inflation go back up, and then they blame it on him, the guy that left the economy with high inflation. Or you can go the other way around.
They're gonna blame it on him. Like they're gonna blame whatever happens on Fed. Like it's like, oh, like we didn't get enough chickens this year. Yeah,
that's true.
Like look at what Trump did with Biden. Like he crashed the markets, and he was like, yeah, this is Biden's economy.
Yeah, but look at the Fed rate, target rate. We're back to 71%.
Yeah.
On a cut. So
that went up drastically because the Fed Williams came in and he was like, yeah, we can do a cut. And he's like centrist, so it's like, it tells you that the centrist is like, so it's like, I think that you're going to get like, people are going to say no, but I think you're going to be in like the Fed. Like the thing is just like, the people are expecting the Fed to just be like, we're just going to go on a cutting cycle, everybody. And it's like the fact that you say that is going to make markets move preemptively. So you have to be careful in the way that you sort of phrase everything. Like freaking a different comma in the text freaks markets out. It's like, oh, this comma wasn't here, and why are they taking a pause in between the statements? And it's like, it's a comma, it's like, relax. So yeah, Insanity. But yes, okay. Anything else you guys want to add before we end it?
No, that's it. Hour 40 minutes. Wow.
We've just been going. It's a good conversation. Like,
Good conversation, always.
And you know what it was too? You know, the reason I felt that we needed to do the emergency stream was because on the one on Thursday, markets were going up. Markets were up at the start. And then all of a sudden it was like, bum, bum, bum.
I was in a meeting. I was just watching the 5-minute chart. It's like, okay. And I was like, okay, I should get out here. But then I was in the meeting, so I couldn't get out. I'll get out as soon as this meeting ends. And then I just like, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Like, stopped. It's like, ah.
Yeah.
No, it was insane. It was insane. Yo, Graham, thanks so much for watching. Dragos, Andre, you guys are MVPs. Thanks so much for watching. Unreal Environment asked, this was a question that was like at the beginning. I just answered it on the chat. He was asking, it's like funds selling Bitcoins and who's buying the Bitcoins? Like, are banks and funds selling or buying? And it's like, you're getting both right now, right? So
I've seen a lot of, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've seen on Twitter a lot of like screenshots saying, oh, all these companies are moving Bitcoin to Coinbase. But again, I have not validated that, so I don't know. It might just be flagged.
Oh, yeah. Hey, take it with a grain of salt. And on X, that place is awful. Good gauge of sentiment, but look, take it with a grain of salt.
We can do 2 hours on Thursday to make sure that nothing happens. Yeah, just in case, just to make sure that nothing happens. Next thing we know, we're gonna be live streaming every day, all day. We're just waiting for the Trump collapse. It's like it's gonna happen today. It's gonna happen today. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate you. Don't forget to check out the links below. We can check out our trading ideas on Etoro. We're trying to get Adrian to join the platform, but not yet because the copy trading is still not open. And the shirt says it all. It's time. I don't know. I've been buying it. I'm not gonna lie. I've been buying it, and it's not looking pretty, but it's like it's a small part of my portfolio. But it's like I've been waiting for the opportunity to get into Bitcoin more, like increase my position, and I just find that this is like, people are not saying to buy, so it's like let's buy and let's see what happens. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. We really appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one.